Oh, hello there. Welcome to a cold, windy, freezing England. And here I am in the garden preparing something. Can you guess what it is? I will give you a clue. It happens in December, and lots of people of all ages get very excited about it. Yes, I am preparing for that magical season. We are just 35 days away from Christmas, and I am now outside the house putting up the Christmas lights, as I do every single year. I went up into the attic on Monday and I fetched all of my Christmas lights out of the attic, and now I'm outside putting them up on the front of the house. And I must be honest with you, it is absolutely freezing out here. I'll be really pleased when I've finished doing this. So I have lots of Christmas lights. I've put quite a few up already on the house, and these are the last ones to go up. We will be taking a closer look at these a little bit later on. Also, of course, I'll be chatting live to you as well. December is going to be a very busy month because besides Christmas, we also have a general election taking place a few days before Christmas arrives. Thank you for joining me today. Yes, we are live across YouTube. It's another English Addict. And yes, we are definitely live. There is no doubt about it. We are definitely live today. Oh, hello there. Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? Well, I hope you are happy because we are all here again today. It's a little chilly here in the UK, as you may have seen during the countdown to today's live stream. Let's have a look outside. Yes, it is very cold, chilly. We've had a lot of wind this morning, and I'm not talking about my stomach. So it's very windy here in the UK. But as you can see, it really does look quite colourful. Autumn is definitely in the air. As we always like to talk about the weather, I wouldn't be a British person if I didn't talk about the weather all the time. So you might notice that quite often on my live streams I will mention the weather, because between you and me, I think it's a very interesting subject. I really do. I hope you have had a good week so far. It isn't Friday. I'm sorry about that. It isn't Thursday. I do apologise. However, we are halfway to the weekend. Yes, it's Wednesday. As you saw at the start of today's lesson, I have had a very busy week. I've been outside putting up the Christmas decorations. Would you like to have a quick look? So here it is. Here is me outside putting up the Christmas decorations, and I seem to be doing it very quickly. So there I am, unpacking all of those lovely Christmas lights, going up onto the roof of the house, very high up, so all the neighbours can see my lovely lights. Every year my neighbours say to me, "Duncan, are you putting up your Christmas lights yet?" So there I am on one of the roofs of my house, and I'm putting some of the string lights. So those particular lights you can see there are called string lights because they are a very long string. So I'm winding the lights around the railings. at the front of the house. And as you can see, I'm getting in a little bit of a tangle there. One of the worst things about putting Christmas lights up is quite often you will get into a terrible tangle. Sometimes you cannot unravel or unwind the lights, so it can be a very difficult thing to do. But there I seem to be doing quite a good job of it. And you can see there on that image just how cold it was when I was doing that. And now, oh yes, I am now unpacking the main lights. So these lights are the stars of the show. There you can see a Christmas tree that will illuminate, and also what is in this box, I wonder. Let's have a look, shall we? Hurry up, Mr. Duncan, open the box. Ooh, that looks like a shooting star. And it is. So there I am on the roof putting some of the lights up, and we'll have a little look at more of that later on. We will have another look at my Christmas lights and all the work I've been doing later on. Meanwhile, it is live, yes, English Addict, for those who can't get enough of the English language. Just like me, I am crazy about English. I think it is safe to say. We have the live chat. I can't forget about the live chat. So hello to the live chatters. Hello to Wafay. Oh, Wafay. I love your name, by the way. Lafay Lafian says, hi, guess what? Congratulations, you are first on today's live chat. Fancy that. Congratulations. Also a big hello to Belarusia. You are second, almost first, second today. On the live chat, Martha is here. Also Cho, Business Nguyen is here as well in Vietnam. Caesar, hello Caesar. Hail, hail to you. I'm sure I'm not the first person to do that. Hello RHS Noemi. Hello people around the world. Yes, one of the wonderful things about doing this is we can speak to everyone, or at least those who are watching. Lots of people around the world saying hello right now, including Sweetness Mitra. Thank you very much, by the way, for your lovely messages, Sweetness. I do appreciate them. Eric, hi Mr. Duncan. I wish a great day for everyone. I've had a busy morning because the heating in the house has been suffering some problems. So this morning we had a heating engineer to come and fix the boiler in the kitchen. But he was there for so long. I thought I was very worried that he would be a surprise guest on today's live stream. Fortunately, he has gone. But the problem was he kept talking. He wouldn't stop talking. So he was doing his work, and then after he finished repairing the boiler, he started talking about all sorts of things, which is okay. I have no problem with that. If you want to have a conversation with me, no problem. But all I kept thinking was, I hope he goes soon. I hope he leaves because I have a lot of things to do. So this morning I was rather distracted by the man who came to fix my boiler. But it is working now, so the house is lovely and warm. I hope you are comfortable where you are. Hello to Pradeep. Hello also to Anna. Hello Anna, nice to see you here again. Hello also to Vitas, watching in Lithuania. As I mentioned at the start of today's live stream, we have a very busy month approaching. We are now, it's the 20th, isn't it? The 20th of November. I've just realised something. Do you know what I've realised? I've just realised that Christmas is only 35 days away. do, 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 do. Christmas is on the way. Everybody get ready for Christmas time. Yes, Christmas is coming. 35 days left before Christmas arrives. Are you ready for the season that is Christmas? I wonder. So I'm pretty excited, and as a way of showing just how excited I am, here is me putting up the Christmas lights. Would you like to have a look? And also in this video, I am going to explain all about why we have Christmas lights and where they originated. This month is proving to be a busy one for me. I have been doing all sorts of things. Today I'm on the roof of my house fixing some festive lights to the railings above my garage. Have you noticed how important lights are during festivals and celebrations? Even the word light can have a significant meaning. We can see the light. This means that we have had a revelation. If a person suddenly changes their mind about something, or they have a great idea, we can say that they have seen the light. Something that was unclear before can now be seen vividly and can be understood well. That person has seen the light. These are called fairy lights. They are tiny lights that glow and twinkle. Fairy lights are often hung on Christmas trees. They create a magical atmosphere with their gentle glow. Some fairy lights flash or blink. Some are white, while others are multicoloured. The name fairy lights dates back to the late 1800s and became popular after they were used as a stage prop in the opera Iolanthe, written by the composers Gilbert and Sullivan. For the opera, small electric lights were placed on the actors who were playing fairies. The name fairy light stuck and is still used to this very day. Did you know that originally candles were used as decorations? That does not sound very safe to me. So now you know the reason why we put lights up and where fairy lights came from. Ooh. So I always like to teach something different, something unusual. So there I was putting up my Christmas lights. We are 35 days away from Christmas. I know not everyone in the world celebrates Christmas, but I always get excited. You have to have something during your year to get excited about. And to be honest with you, Christmas always makes me excited because I like the colour, I like the festival, I like the food. People are talking to each other, even if they don't normally speak. So I always find that Christmas time is when people who normally ignore each other, like friends and neighbours maybe, so you pass each other in the street, but you don't really talk. At Christmas time, everyone says hello. So that's another reason why I really like Christmas time, is because it's when people start being friendly towards each other. If only we were like that for the whole year. Wouldn't it be lovely? Hello to the live chat. Hello Cothangio, hello to you. You are a great teacher. I knew you over 10 years ago. I really do feel old today. I knew you over 10 years ago. Now I have come back to learn from you. Wow. Thank you so much from Texas in the USA. Thank you very much for joining me again. I know I have lots of people who have been watching for many years, and I do appreciate it. And of course, I have lots of new people who have joined me. English Addict, by the way, is a new series of live streams. I have been doing live streams for over 3 years, and I've been making video lessons for over 13 years. So I've been here for quite a long time. Hello to everyone. I hope I find you in a good humour today. Humour. Oh, I like that word. This is a very interesting word. Did you know, in its original form, the word humour actually was used in anatomy to describe the fluids inside the human body, even though nowadays we don't normally use it in that way. However, we still have the word humour to describe some of the parts of the eye. For example, the vitreous humour and also the aqueous humour. So these are things that are actually part of your eye. They are the moisture, they are the jelly and the liquid that is inside your eye. So the word humour is still used in some parts of anatomy. However, later on, it was believed that a person's mental health depended on the condition of their body fluids. And that's how the word humour became used to mean a person's mood or the way they feel. I'm not joking. That is how this word became used in modern English to mean being happy or sad. You have good humour or you have bad humour. So something very unusual there. I hope you enjoyed that. A big question to ask you today, because we are talking about one particular subject during today's live stream. Oh, now the Queen and Prince Philip, the Queen of England and her husband, Prince Philip, are celebrating their wedding anniversary today. Do you know how many years the Queen of England and her husband, Prince Philip, have been married for? It's their anniversary. But how long have they been married? We are talking all about this today. So first of all, I suppose the best question to ask, are you married? Have you ever got married? Are you married now? Or maybe you were married. Ooh, I'm so cheeky. We have the mystery idiom as well. I don't want to forget about that. So I will show you the mystery idiom straight away before we start talking about marriage. Are you married? If not, would you like to get married? So here it is, today's mystery idiom. Just say what you see on the screen. The mystery idiom, it is a well-known phrase in the English language. All you have to do is tell me what it is. Don't worry, I will give you the answer later on. I will not leave you in suspense for too long. So lots of people guessing how long the Queen of England has been married to her husband. 70, says Ba Doan. You are near. You are very close. Hello also to Cho. Marwa says, is it 20 years? It's a little longer than that. So the Queen of England and Prince Philip, her husband, have been married for an incredible 72 years. Wow. Just think about that. 72 years being married. That's a long time. I'm not sure if I could last that long. But yes, 72 years today, the Queen and Prince Philip got married. So the big question is, are you married? And if not, would you like to get married? Would you like to become someone's husband or someone's wife? So, we are talking about marriage. Marriage is something that people do when they want to spend their whole life together, every day, waking up with the same person, eating with the same person, talking with the same person every day, forever and ever. Till death do you part. Labby is here, also Alamgir. Hello to you. Also to Fernando, who says, I see 2 hands and 1 boot. Very nice. Marwa says, it's incredible that the Queen has been married to Philip for over 72 years now. So it is there today. So marriage. When we talk about marriage, we talk about 2 things coming together and being together. So you might also use the word marriage to mean 2 things that are joined. So maybe you can have a marriage of music. You might join 2 different pieces of music together. And so you can describe that as a marriage. So it means bringing 2 things together. You bring them together and then they are joined in some way. So a marriage, marriage joined together. Quite often we see marriage as symbolic, and also many people view marriage as something that is very sacred. So maybe a religious ceremony. So these days in certain countries, and I have to say that includes here in the UK, marriage is seen as something that you don't have to do. You don't. So you don't have to get married. Although in some countries, getting married is important and you must do it. You must get married. I remember when I was in China, one of my students said, Mr. Duncan, are you married? Will you get married? And I said, well, I don't really know. I'm not married at the moment, but I might get married. And they said, Mr. Duncan, you should get married, or else people here will think you are strange. So apparently in China, marriage is something that is, well, it isn't a choice. You have to do it. Marriage. When we talk about marriage, we can also use the word matrimony. Matrimony. So again, you are getting married. A marriage means that you are in matrimony. Ooh, I like that word, matrimony. So if you are in matrimony, it means you are in a marriage. Matrimony, the joining together of 2 people to exchange their vows and also to express their love for each other. You are in blissful matrimony. I like it. Hello to the live chat again, Eman. Hello also to Pedro. Hello, Pedro. Nice to see you. Also here today. Anna is married. Anna Rita says, I got married 29 years ago. So that's a very long time. So next year, Anna, you will be celebrating your 30th wedding anniversary. That's a lot of years to be together in a marriage. I think so, especially nowadays, because some marriages don't last very long. Have you noticed? So sometimes a marriage might not last very long. Hello to Sweetness. Oh, Sweetness says, I am in matrimony. So you are married. So how long have you been married for? Have you been married for many years, like the Queen of England to her husband? Or maybe you are recently married. You are a newlywed. So when we say newlywed, we mean you have recently got married. You are a newlywed. You are a person who has recently got married. Fernando says, I got married in 1984. Again, that is a very long time ago. So well over 30 years ago, Fernando has been married. Hello also to Rosa, who makes a guess on the mystery idiom. Also, we have Christina. Hello, Christina Jackson. Nice to see you here today. We are talking all about an interesting subject. We are talking about marriage. Words connected to getting married. Words that you might use before, during, and also after marriage. Here's another word we can use. Oh, I like this one. Wedlock. You are living in wedlock. You are in wedlock. That means you are married. Now, this is quite an old-fashioned word, but people still use it, even though it sounds like it's something from the 18th century or something from an old romantic novel like Jane Eyre. But it isn't. Wedlock is the state of being married. You are enjoying wedlock. So you might say that these words are actually joined together here. So you might say you are wedded and you are joined. So wedlock. You are joined together in marriage. You are married. Ooh. Doran says, now I am not married, but I would like to get married when I am 28. Thank you, Doran, for that. That is very precise. So maybe you have someone you have your eye on, someone you might want to marry one day. It is a hard subject to talk about marriage because some people find that this subject is very sensitive because some people don't want to get married. Some people feel that there might be pressure from their friends or family to get married. In my life, I've had no pressure from anyone to get married in any way. So I am not married yet. Although perhaps I should get a move on, really, shouldn't I? So what about you? If you are not married, then would you like to get married? Or maybe you don't want to. Some people don't want to get married. If you are married, we can say that you are joined. You are joined. We can also say joined together. You are joined together in marriage. You are joined. So you are in a stable, permanent relationship. You are joined. So when we think of marriage, we also think of the legal side of it as well. So to be honest, marriage is also a legal thing as well. So we talk about the law and the legality of getting married. So it is something that it's a bit like signing a contract when you think about it. So when you sign your name on that big day in the register, so when you sign your name and then your wife or husband signs their name, that means you have signed a contract that is binding. You are now legally married. Ooh, interesting. Hello, Mr. Duncan, are you a misogynist? A misogynist? No, I can promise you I am not a misogynist. That's a very interesting thing to say, but I have nothing against women. I don't hate women. I don't dislike women. I have nothing against ladies at all. So, no, I'm not a misogynist. Thank you very much, though, for asking. That's an interesting question. Probably one of the most interesting questions I've ever been asked. Hello, cute Ahmed. Please discuss the disability issue of disabled people. That is a very good subject, and it is one that I might cover in a future live stream or maybe an individual lesson. So thank you, cute Ahmed, for your suggestion. Eric says, I am not married and I am not joined to anyone. So Eric, so do you want to stay single? Do you want to stay unmarried? So a person who is not married might be described as unmarried. Unmarried. They are not married. When you get married, we can say that you get hitched. I love this expression. So when you get married, we can say that you get hitched. You join another person in matrimony. You get hitched. Now, this is something you might hear in British English when a man is talking about maybe the possibility of getting married, or maybe he is thinking about marrying his girlfriend. He might think about getting hitched. So when you hitch, it means you join something. You join onto something, or maybe you join another person as they go on a journey. So you get hitched. So this is a comical way, an amusing way of saying get married. So I am thinking of getting hitched. My brother-in-law is hitched. He has married my sister. You see? You get hitched to someone. Hitched. Another way of describing marriage, you tie the knot. I like this one. This is fun. This is nice. So when two people get married, we can say that they tie the knot. So they are joined together permanently. They have tied the knot, and now they are joined together. You tie the knot. You go to the church and you get married. You tie the knot. A great expression. Once again, quite often used in British English, although you might hear it used also in American English as well. Anna says marriage is a contract, but it also gives legal rights to the couple. Yes, this is something, and I think this is one of the things that many people think about when they talk about marriage. So before you marry someone, there are often things that you have to consider. First of all, and I know this is a very delicate subject, but I'm going to say it. First of all, we have to think about money, especially if you are marrying someone who is wealthy. So quite often before a marriage takes place, these things sometimes have to be discussed. So maybe a woman is marrying a wealthy man, or of course these days a man might be marrying a wealthy woman. So quite often they will have to make agreements. They will have to sort out what happens if the marriage ends. So even before you get married, you have to talk about what happens if the marriage doesn't work, if you decide that you don't want to stay with that person. So money quite often is a very sensitive issue when it comes to talking about getting married and marriage. Belarusia asks, Mr. Duncan, you talk from time to time about marriage. I wonder why. There is no reason. The only reason why I'm talking about it today is because the Queen of England and her husband are celebrating their 72nd wedding day anniversary. Can you believe it? Lena says, my parents have celebrated their 40th anniversary this year. Their anniversary was on the 9th of February. Thank you, Lena. Again, 40 years is a long time. Now, normally, when a couple have been married for a certain period of time, they will often exchange gifts. So, when you have been married for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, there are often gifts that are exchanged between the couple. So, on your 40th wedding anniversary, I wonder what you will exchange. Because each special anniversary has something connected to it. Normally something that is given, that is symbolic. It is a sign of your marriage lasting for a very long time. Luis Mendez. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you here. Nowadays, a couple might live together for 10 or 15 years. After this period, they might decide to marry they might decide to marry and then 2 or 3 years later, they get divorced. Yes. So sometimes marriage can be a little bit too much of a commitment. So when you get married, you are actually making a commitment. So when you make a commitment, it means you are swearing that this thing will stay the way it is. You make a commitment. So the husband will promise, I will love and cherish you forever and ever, for better or worse, in richer or poorer, till death us do part. So you might call marriage a commitment. However, many people feel better not getting married. So sometimes a relationship can actually be more enjoyable if you are not married. Don't ask me why. Everyone has their own personal opinion of marriage. So some people think that getting married puts too much pressure on the relationship. So some people decide to stay single. Or maybe they live together and they behave as if they are married, even though they are not. So some people find that marriage creates too much pressure. They feel as if the commitment is too big. They feel maybe they are tied to the relationship. So sometimes, yes, I think so. And quite often, and here's another thing that I've noticed, I always feel a little sad when a couple get married and they spend lots and lots of money on the wedding and the dress. They spend thousands of pounds on the beautiful church service, and they have a very expensive honeymoon. They go away on holiday, and then about a year later, they split up. And I think that's such a shame. So sometimes you don't need to have lots of big expensive things to show that you care for another person. Sometimes you can have a very simple wedding, something that isn't expensive or extravagant. Mr. Duncan, what is your live stream schedule time? I will show you right now because you have asked. My English Addict live streams are with you on Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. Sunday, Wednesday, and also Friday, which means I will be back with you on Friday. That is when I will be with you next. And all of those days, I will be with you from 2 p.m. UK time. So here in the UK, it will be 2 p.m. UK time on Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also, for those who want to get in touch, because I know a lot of people want to write to me, and also some people want to follow me on Facebook, here are the details right now. I'm just reading some of the comments. Very nice. I like the comments, by the way. Eric says, as a side effect of this lesson, some relationships might be established, and Mr. Duncan will be like a godfather. Oh, I see. Oh, I'm not sure about that. Oh, dear. Now, you might be surprised to find that relationships can be created anywhere. Quite often, people will meet in social situations, maybe at work. It is not unusual nowadays for people who work in the same office or work in the same company. They actually develop a relationship. So it might happen. It might. Marwa says, I agree, Mr. Duncan. The wedding should be nice and simple. I think so. I think that's nice. What about Mr. Steve, your assistant? Mr. Steve? What about Mr. Steve? What are you saying there? I'm not sure. Maybe you can explain. What do we usually do at a bachelor party before a marriage takes place? Well, quite often the man, so when a man is getting married, quite often his friends will give a party. They will throw a party for him. And we call this a bachelor party. So a bachelor party is quite often a party that happens maybe the day before the wedding takes place. So, of course, you've seen the films, The Hangover, Part 1, 2, and also 3. So there is a very good series of movies all about a group of guys who go on bachelor parties, or here in the UK, we quite often call it stag night. Stag night. So stag is like the male deer with the antlers or the horns. So a stag night is a bachelor party. So quite often men will get together and they will throw a party for their friend before he gets married, before he decides to get wed. So when you get married, we can say that you get wed. Wed. So wed is a way of describing the action of getting married. You are going to a wedding, you are going to marry your sweetheart, you get wed. You get wed. And of course, when two people get married, we describe them as husband and wife. Husband and wife. So the male is the husband and the lady is the wife. Although these days, of course, we live in very cosmopolitan times. So not always. It's not always husband and wife. Sometimes it might be husband and husband or wife and wife. Oh, Mr. Duncan. So husband and wife, the title given to the people getting married. And we might describe the couple as being happy. So we might describe them as the happy couple. Oh, look, there they are. Oh, the happy couple. So where are the happy couple? Maybe you can't find them and you are asking, where are they? Where are the happy couple? So the happy couple means the couple that have just got married. The happy couple. Isn't that nice? Here's an interesting phrase. Not everyone wants to get married, and there are many reasons why you might not want to get married. Some people consider marriage as a thing they don't want to do. Ooh. They might describe marriage as the ball and chain. The ball and chain, which I will demonstrate for you right now. So some people think that marriage is a little bit like a ball and chain, something that holds you in place. You can't escape. So the ball and chain, you might describe your wife as the ball and chain, someone you can't escape, you can't get away from. They are described as the ball and chain. We can also use ball and chain to describe any situation that is hard to escape from, maybe a situation you can't get out of. So ball and chain is one of the ways of describing maybe the person you're married to, or maybe the action of being married. The ball and chain. I'm sure I will get into trouble for showing this one, but quite often people will say, yes, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have the ball and chain. I want to stay free and single. Quite often when you go to a wedding, if you are in the audience watching, there are many things that will take place at the front of the church, or maybe the place where the wedding is taking place. Wedding vows. These are things that are said. So wedding, of course, the wedding is taking place. Vows are the promises that you will make. So wedding vows basically means the promises you give during the wedding. You will make promises to your husband or wife. As I mentioned earlier on, you might say things like, I promise to love and cherish you. I promise to be by your side forever and ever, through sickness and health, through richness and poverty, till death us do part. So your wedding vows are the promises that you make to each other during the wedding ceremony. You will make your vows. Sometimes the vows will be traditional, or sometimes, certainly nowadays, a lot of people like to make their own wedding vows. So they will write their own wedding vows, the promises that they give to their partner as they are getting married. We call them the wedding vows. Very nice. Irene, I think Irene is complaining. Irene, the ball and chain, such a terrible thing. I don't think so, by the way. I don't think that marriage is like a ball and chain. So I don't think that. So don't worry. I agree with you, Anna. Anna says the wedding ceremony is also a show sometimes. Yes, normally after the wedding takes place, other things will happen. They will. Before a person gets married, quite often they will spend time with the person they are going to marry. They spend time getting to know each other, and they also spend time arranging the wedding. We can say that they get engaged. So when people get engaged, it means they are really starting to commit to getting married. They are in the process of arranging their marriage. They get engaged. So to be engaged means that this person is your intended, the person you are going to marry, because now you are engaged. You get engaged. So maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend might propose to you. Isn't that romantic? So maybe your boyfriend will buy a lovely ring, and one night he will take you for a walk in the park, and the moon is shining in the sky. Everything is beautiful and romantic. And then he gets down on one knee and he says, "Darling, we have been together now for almost 2 years, and I can't tell you how happy I feel being with you. Would you like to be my wife? I am asking you, would you like to be my wife? I am proposing to you. Would you like to marry me?" So the husband often will propose, get engaged. This is a big step, by the way. This isn't an easy thing to do, especially nowadays. So nowadays, whenever anyone says that they have got engaged, people just assume the wedding will happen. But you might also find that sometimes the engagement will be broken off. You might break off the engagement, which means you have changed your mind, which means that you have decided to break the engagement. You no longer want to get married to this person. You have changed your mind. So you might get engaged, but that doesn't mean that you are going to get married. It doesn't. Ahmed says, "Mr. Duncan, I warn you, the second you give them a ring, they fall out of warranty." Oh, I see. That sounds like a very stern warning. I might make a note of that. Let me just write that down. Beware that once you give them the ring, the warranty will end. I think that means that you can't return the ring. That's it. You have made the commitment forever and ever. I think so. Lewis says, in a married couple, there are always ups and downs. Yes, I think so. There are always problems in any relationship. There is no such thing as a perfect marriage. It isn't really about the problems. It is actually about the way you solve the problems. It is about the way you create the harmony between you in the relationship. So whatever happens, you stay calm and you don't start fighting and arguing. So there is no such thing as a perfect marriage. It doesn't exist. All relationships have their ups and downs. They all have their problems. But sometimes it is very hard to solve those problems. Sometimes the couple do not want the problem to be solved. Sometimes they are looking for an excuse to end the marriage. So yes, there are many ways of talking about that. Helena says, "Mr. Duncan, what are the mother-in-laws like in England? That is a terrible subject. There is a joke, especially in British English, and maybe where you are as well, but certainly in this culture, we often joke about the mother-in-law. So the mother-in-law is the mother of the bride, and quite often the mother-in-law can be quite domineering or bossy. And of course, quite often the mother of the husband can also be quite dominating and bossy. So the mother-in-law, we often refer to it as the bride's mother rather than the husband's mother. So many men complain about their wife's mother, and she is called the mother-in-law. There are many jokes concerning the mother-in-law. Many, many jokes exist. Anna says the perfect marriage does not exist. I think so, yes. There is no such thing as the perfect marriage. And I can prove this because even if you have lots of money, it doesn't necessarily mean your marriage will be lovely and harmonious and long. So if you look at famous film stars, actors, they get together, they have very expensive marriages, they spend millions on their wedding reception, they spend so much money, and then a couple of years later they get divorced, and then they fight over who gets the money and who gets the big house, who gets the beach house, who gets to look after the children. So even though you have lots of money, it doesn't mean your marriage is going to be long and stable. Not at all. So when you get married, quite often you will have a church service. So when we talk about traditional marriage, it means you will go to the church. You will go to a church and you will stand in front of a group of people and they will be the witnesses. So they will witness your marriage taking place. So there is a church service. Also, these days, in some countries, including this country, you could just go to a register office. So when you go to a register office, it means you don't have the religious ceremony, you don't have the vicar, you don't have the priest, you don't have the church. You just go along to the local council office and then you register your marriage, and that's it. So you just go into a room and you sign a piece of paper, and that's it. You are husband and wife. So a register office is a simple and quick way of getting married, and it's quite popular these days. We often talk about the bride and groom. So when we go to a wedding, we will see the lady and the gentleman, the bride and groom. So this is the official title that we will give to the two people getting married. So the bride, the lady, and the groom, the gentleman. Although nowadays, of course, you can have two brides and two grooms, that sort of thing. I think you know what I mean. Exchange rings. Oh, yes. I think this is very romantic, actually. One of the most romantic parts of getting married, I think, is exchanging the rings. Isn't that lovely? So quite often they will both give rings to each other, although that doesn't always happen. So the man will put a ring on the woman's finger. I'm not sure which one it is. Which finger is it? You can tell I'm not married because I can't remember which finger. I think it's this finger. That's it. This finger. Or is it this finger? I think it's this finger. Is it this finger? Is this the finger that you put the wedding ring on? Because I've never been married, as you can tell. So, yes, you exchange rings quite often. Both of the people involved will exchange rings, which I think is lovely. So, when you exchange rings, you often do this as you are giving your vows. So you will make your promises and then you will exchange your rings, which is very nice. After the wedding has taken place, there will often be a dinner reception. So there will be a party after the wedding has taken place. Sometimes the wedding and the dinner reception are in the same place. Sometimes they are separate. So you might go for a dinner reception at a hotel or a large hall, and then you will sit down together and eat a meal. So a dinner reception is normally what follows the wedding. Hello to Tan Chang. Hello also to Alamgir. The finger that you get married with is the ring finger. Oh, yes. So a wedding ring is also a sign that that person is no longer available. So you might see, I don't know, you might be working in an office and then one day this really sexy guy comes in and you think, oh, he's quite nice. I think I might marry him one day. And then you look on his finger and he's got a wedding ring. So that's it. The show is over. No way. The same thing applies to a gentleman. So maybe he sees a beautiful lady come into the office and he thinks, ooh, I like her. But then you see the wedding ring and then it's all over. Hello to Zagaya or Zagia. Hello to you. Palmyra, I remember the lesson where you and Mr. Steve are at a wedding. You should show an excerpt. Yes, that is very interesting. One of my earliest videos, I think it was 2007, I made a lesson all about going to a wedding. That's right, I went with Mr. Steve. The only thing I remember about that video is I was very fat at the time. I don't know why, but I looked very fat on the video. So that's all I remember about that. Marriage takes a lot of money, dinner, photos, invitations, guests, and of course, the honeymoon. Ooh, the honeymoon happens when everything else has ended. So after the church service, after the reception, after the dinner, the couple will go away on their honeymoon. The honeymoon gives them a chance to get to know each other closely. That's all I'm saying. When a person has been married for many years, they will often celebrate the date in which they became married. Their wedding anniversary, that is the date when you got married. So every year, the couple will often celebrate their wedding anniversary. They will celebrate the day when they got married. So wedding anniversary is the date that you got married. So as the years go by, you will continue to celebrate your wedding anniversary. However, sometimes the husband might forget. It does happen. So sometimes the husband might forget that it is their wedding anniversary. Oh dear me, that is not good. Of course, it would be fair to say that not all marriages last. Not all marriages are happy ever after. Not all marriages are fairy tales. Sometimes the couple will split up. It doesn't last. Unfortunately, they decide that they can't be together anymore because they keep fighting and arguing and disagreeing. So they decide to split up. They decide to end the marriage. I know in some cultures, splitting up in a marriage is not allowed. However, here in the UK, marriages sometimes end. The couple decide to split up. So even if you are in a relationship where you are not married, you split up. So the end of a relationship, whether you are married or not, you split up. So the couple decide to part company. They go their separate ways. They split up. And when you get married, you have a marriage. However, when your marriage comes to an end, You divorce. You get a divorce. You decide that you want to separate permanently, so you stop the marriage, you bring the marriage to a close, you get a divorce, you decide to split up, you end the marriage, you divorce. Again, in some countries, divorce is not allowed. Here in the UK, divorce is allowed. In fact, you will be amazed how many people get married and then a short time later they get divorced. They decide that maybe getting married was not a good idea, so they get divorced. My parents got divorced many years ago. So my mother and father actually got divorced many years ago. Hello to Zakia. When a couple split up, it is a very sad moment for both people, for the couple. I think so. There is nothing sadder than the end of a relationship, any type of relationship, even friendship. So when friendship comes to an end, and quite often you might find that marriage is very similar to friendship. So when a friendship ends, when a marriage ends, it is a very sad thing indeed. I think so. Luis Mendez says, my wedding anniversary was last Monday, but my wife and I are going to the restaurant next Saturday to celebrate the event. Well, I think that's a good idea. So you don't always celebrate the anniversary on the same day. So maybe there are reasons why you can't do it on that day. So maybe you do it later on another date. Maybe you have a romantic dinner, or maybe you go away for a trip, a nice holiday together. RHS says, oh, I split up after 43 years. That is a long time to be together. In fact, I always think that if you've been together for a long time, it's quite sad when the marriage comes to an end, because you've had all of that time to get to know each other and to bond. So there must be many things that you love about that person. So when the relationship ends after a very long time, I always think that's very sad. Quite tragic, in fact. Quite tragic. Anna, I love Tuscany. I see. I don't know. Did we mention Tuscany? I don't think so. I've always wanted to go to Tuscany. I love all of that part of the world, in fact. Hello. The miracle life is the wedding moment. The miracle life. The miracle of life. So some people grow up looking for that perfect person to marry, to be with for the rest of their life. In some cultures, of course, the parents will arrange the marriage. So maybe in some cultures, or maybe people with certain religious beliefs, will actually arrange the marriage as well. So that does happen. There are some happy divorces. It does sound unbelievable, right? Yes, I think so. I would say from my point of view, my parents' divorce was not a happy one. It really wasn't. And that's all I'm saying about that. Alan Gear. Yes, it is very sad when a couple get divorced and they have children. I think so. I think one of the most difficult parts of getting divorced is when there are children involved as well. Yes, I think so. So yes, that can be a bad thing, a very sad situation. So we are talking a lot about marriage. However, some people do not get married. Some people decide that they want to stay single. And here is a word that describes a man who wants to stay single. So when we talk about a bachelor, we are talking about a person who stays single, a man who stays single. He does not get married. He decides that for the whole of his life, he is going to stay unmarried. He will be a bachelor forever. So when you decide not to get married, and some people do, some people choose not to get married, they might have relationships, but they never get married. So they stay a bachelor. I think there was a song, wasn't there, called Bachelor Boy by Cliff Richard. Oh, I am a bachelor boy, and that's the way I'll be. Bachelor. So when a man stays single, he does not get married, he is a bachelor. He stays alone. When a woman decides that she doesn't want to get married, she wants to stay on her own, we can describe her as a spinster. Oh dear. I don't like that word. I don't know why. That word always sounds very negative to me. Spinster. An unmarried woman. Mrs. Frobisher. She sits in her wedding dress, surrounded by dust. A spinster is a person who never gets married, a female, a woman who doesn't get married. She stays single for all of her life. And quite often this word is used negatively as well. Spinster. Spinster. And of course we can also say single. A person stays single. So if a person is single, they are unmarried, they are not attached, they are not joined to anyone. They are not even in a relationship of any sort. They are unattached. They are single. They are without a partner. They have no partner in their life. They are single. Young, free, and single. That's almost it for today, by the way. I will be going soon, but don't worry, I am back with you on Friday. I will be with you at the end of the week with more of this English Addict Live for those who love the beautiful language that is English. And if you are like me, you are quite likely an English addict as well. Thank you very much, Alan Gear. Mr. Duncan, what is it called if a woman is not married? Yes, we say spinster. Spinster. Unmarried. An unmarried woman is a spinster. Of course, nowadays we also use the word bachelorette. So a bachelorette is a woman who is unmarried, although she might be looking for a partner. You see? It's a little bit like those reality TV shows where the lady is looking for her perfect man. Or maybe, of course, a man might be looking for his perfect woman. So he is a bachelor. And the woman might be a bachelorette. Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you to Nam. Thank you, Chu. I am going in a moment. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. It's been a little different. As we look outside, things are looking quite lovely at the moment. Autumn is definitely in the air, even though it is freezing cold. It really is so cold at the moment. I can't begin to tell you how cold it is. It really feels as if winter has arrived. Tanya asks a very interesting question. What do we call a person whose husband has died? Now, I haven't got that written down. However, the word is widow. Widow. Widow means a person whose spouse or partner has died, the person they are married to. So if a woman loses her husband, she is a widow. Widow. And if the husband loses his wife, he is a widower. Widower. So I hope that explains that. And there's an interesting word I just used. Spouse. Spouse. So spouse means the person you are married to. Spouse. Can I introduce you to my spouse? It is a very old-fashioned word for the person you are married to. Azamat, hello Azamat, says, I have only just connected. And it is finished soon. Well, yes, I am with you on Sunday, Wednesday and Friday, 2 p.m. UK time. So it is important that you make a note of the time, 2 p.m. UK time, and then you can work out what the time difference is between your country and England. And then hopefully you will join me on my next live stream, which is this Friday from 2 p.m. UK time. Thank you very much for your lovely company today. Whether you are married, whether you are single, whether you are still looking for that perfect person, who knows, one day, Prince Charming or Princess Charming might come along. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for watching me today. I really love being here with you, more than you realise, in fact. And of course, until Friday, 2 p.m. UK time, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.